My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and you're watching Diaspora Television. I'd like to welcome, I'm speaking with some big guns from Atlanta. These days, you don't call it Atlanta anymore. I think it's ATL, and the whole world knows what ATL means, right? Right.
That's
So,
right.
and we're in Ghana, when you say ATL, some people might take it to mean Akosombo Textiles Limited. So we have to pronounce the whole Atlanta. But welcome, Yvonne. Yvonne,
Thank you.
I'm just to have to say that this is a great time because you guys are putting something. Dr. Ali,
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
All right. The first thing I want you guys to do to each state your full name and what you do, please. Let's start with ladies first.
Okay. My name is Yvonne Mcgowan. I'm the president of the Ghana Council of Georgia. And what I do for my living is I am a project manager for my company.
Okay. And Dr. Ali?
Well, my name is Ali Allah. I'm the vice president of the Ghana Council of Georgia. And I work for the state of Georgia. I work in the Department of Behavioral Health, but I'm not a behavioral health person. I'm an information technology person. I'm the chief information officer for the state Department of Behavioral
Okay.
Health.
That's good. Georgia is very, very interesting. I think Georgia is one of those southern states that are growing exponentially. Do you see the growth like when you drive since you've been in? Have you seen any of the exponential that we're all experiencing in the south? At least I see it in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Since I moved here back in 2009, for the area that I'm in, it's just the growth is tremendous. I mean, and you can tell just by, when you go out to drive in comparison to, what the traffic was when I moved here. Right now, the traffic is just outrageous. And that's how you know. And just about everywhere you go, it's crowded.
Right. And I'm sure you can tell, as the chief information officer for the state, you can tell from Atlanta, I mean, the rest of the Georgia, the state, you can tell, are you seeing that growth?
Well, like Miss Yvonne said, absolutely. I mean, the growth is obvious, and more, I think Africans and blacks in general are attracted to Atlanta because there are a lot of black folks in very high positions. The mayor is black. A few other high-ranking people in Georgia are black. So it's a great place for both Africans and Black Americans in general. And yes, the growth is totally exponential.
Okay, very good. I'd like to talk to you guys first and foremost about the Ghanaian and the African community. So I'll start with you, Yvonne. What's the makeup of the Ghanaian community in Atlanta in terms of where we size?
Well, I can give you the statistics on how many Ghanaians are in the state. I'll give you the stats on Atlanta. We have a little over 10,000 Ghanaians in the city of Atlanta, and they're made up with just about all the different cultural tribes from Ghana. I mean, we've got your Infansimans, we got the I'm losing my tribal names. The Asantimans, the Ga Dangmes, which is, I'm Ga, so I'm a member of that team as well. Just various the LS, the Northern community, is just a whole range of the Ghanaian culture as a whole.
What about the second generation? Are you counting them in the 10,000 or you exclude second and possibly third generation Ghanaians?
I don't think those people are counted. Um, for me, being a first generation, I think we are the ones in that 10,000.
Okay. And when you have events, your second generation, do they come? Do they do the Abdua thing? Do they do the traditional stuff? Do they wear cane? Or are they more inclined towards the mainstream American culture?
Well, they do. Because we as the first generations pass on that cultural stuff that they need to learn. They do come. I mean, there are youth. They attend. They dance the dance that we taught them, basically. And tell you the truth, even the third generation enjoy the music and the cultural activities that we have for them. They come in their numbers, but right now they're African American, so to speak.
The African Americans. And we'll get to Dr. Ali for the larger African community in a minute. But last on the demographics, I know that in Houston, when we go to function, and after all the speeches and everything, they start playing the high life, and the first generationers take the floor. And by the time, give it more, at least an hour, the second generation takes over, and the music, you cannot even understand what music they dance into. Is it the same in Atlanta?
Um, well, when we get the new age music from Ghana, the second generation really enjoy it, and they play it all the time. So at events like our Ghana Fest, etc., we would go ahead and satisfy the oldies, the high life. They come in, they dance, but as the crowds come in, they switch up the music, make it the new high life, and the kids just enjoy it tremendously. I mean, they even play
And the
that
old
stuff
folks
on
and the
normal
old folks get
radios.
upset and they leave and go home.
They go sit
Dr.
down, and then
Ali,
after a while, they do go
Yes,
home.
there you go. Dr. Ali, what about the
yes,
larger
sir.
African community? I know that my brother-in-laws, Nigerians, I'm sure they are numbers in Houston. What does the larger African community look like?
Well, the larger African community, I mean, certainly surpasses the Ghanaian community. I mean, especially the Nigerians. But also, I might add that during the crisis in Somalia, Atlanta was one of the areas that received a lot of Malian and Ethiopians. In fact, there's an area called Clarkston. And if you go to Clarkston, you really think you are in Somalia. I mean, I think next to Minneapolis, St. Paul, Atlanta has the most Eastern Africans in the United States. So the larger African community is very vibrant around here. Yvonne, I'm sure you know Clarkston. You go to
I
Clarkston,
do,
you think you are in
yes.
Somalia. Yes, and
Yeah. And
a lot of
relate how do you relate with each? I mean, do you hang out together or each separately? Each groups hang out separately.
well, that is a very good question. I think that for the most part, each group will do their own thing, but we invite each other. And most of the
Yes.
time, they do come because there is a platform that I can't remember. I think it's Pan African. I can't remember the name of the platform, but I think the president, if I'm not mistaken, is from Cameroon.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And
So you
usually,
do
when we have any event, it is published wide, and they all do show up. I mean, most of them do show up.
so you have a Pan-African group in Atlanta that includes members from the different countries, right?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Very
absolutely.
good. Very I think with what happened with the year of return and how African Americans are looking at Africa now, there seems to be an awakening of Pan Africanism. And so I don't know if you're seeing that within the African American community in Atlanta. Do you see that, Dr. Ali?
Well, to some extent, I'll say yes. In fact, the last independence celebration we had was attended
Uh-huh.
by a congressman, a sitting congressman, who actually
Okay.
came to Ghana with a delegation that included Nancy Pelosi and a few other, dignitaries. And he was
Okay.
our guest speaker, and he spoke highly of what is going on in Ghana and how what is happening in Ghana is going to incorporate and integrate with the rest of the African diaspora, because they think that through what Ghana has done, a lot of African Americans who are here will begin to think about Africa. In fact, he said something which I don't know if it's a joke or not, but he said he's contemplating getting a second citizenship of Ghana.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that was huge. I think that was the best standing applause he got that night.
That's good. That's good. Now, Yvonne, you and I both know that when you give a politician a microphone, they all say the right things. And like
That's
Dr. Ali
right.
said, he got an applause and everything. But in real life, what is the relation between the community or the Ghanaian community with the mainstream community? Let's start with the African American public. What's it like?
Well, I mean, we're all here, and we're a community together. Ghana Council is just not for Ghanaians, but the non-Ghanaians that want to know our culture. So every event that we do, it's open to all African Americans, um, whites as well. We see a sprinkle of them in there. But we do business. We go to work with the Americans here. We mesh well, and those of us that have been here for a long time, this is our life. We commune together, and there, right now, I think our purpose here with Ghana Council is to teach the others about Ghana and our culture, etc. But everyone work well together.
Okay, because the relation between Africans and African Americans is critical for the forward movement of the country. Because we're seeing some things like Diaspora Network Television, based on a lot of the things we're seeing and the interview requests that we're getting. It looks like the attention is getting there, and I was just wondering if at the public level it's reflected that for example, when you print in Atlanta during the daytime, what are people's reaction?
Well, for me, I see any tension, so to say. I I'm just not familiar with any tension between Africans and African Americans. It may be that I am in a different, area, but as far as I know, the African Americans accept us. It may be Dr. Ali thinks differently, but from my perspective, there is no tension. We work well, and they're always inquisitive as to what we do, how what we eat, you know, our events, what we do at our events, culturally, etc. But from my perspective, there's no tension that I can speak on.
Okay. Dr. Ali, since you work for the state government, how would you characterize the relation between the state government, or shall I say local government as a whole, with the rest of the African, Ghanaian, and African community?
Oh, I mean, I think for particularly for Georgia, I think Georgia is absolutely an exception, because the relationship is it's phenomenally well. I mean, of course, the tension will always be there. I mean, kid ourselves. And I don't know if you saw the video of the young boy who was shot in South Georgia by the two white guys. That type of tension will always exist. Now, having said all that, professionally, No, I have not encountered any problem. Like I'm in a very high position, and I get to speak with whites, with blacks. I mean, I think what I love about America is your knowledge. If you can produce, nobody really cares if you're black, white, African, it doesn't matter. And I have not faced any type of tension between us and them. I think I think post Mandela, that tension went away. I think because I remember when I first did come to America back in the 80s, yes, there was a lot of tension between Africans and African Americans, but I think that has dissipated. I think it is going to a point where we all understand that we are all in it together. And like I said, particularly for Atlanta, it's an exception. I've never faced any difficulty, any tension, never felt it. I think it's even more welcoming now than it has ever been. Yvonne, wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I think Atlanta is home to two of the very proud black universities. When you talk about HBCUs, you talk about Spelman and you talk about Morehouse, both of which are in Atlanta. What do those campuses look like? I mean, I know a lot of probably our second generations go there. Um, are these two is very involved with African studies that of?
Ali, I'll let you take
Well,
that one since you have kids in
yeah.
college right now.
um,
Spelman
I
and
think
Morehouse.
particularly for more, I think particularly for Morehouse College, I mean, their
Mm,
African Studies department is one of the best, and I do know that they do send students to even to Legon as part of an extension studies for them to go and study and do work in Legon and a few other schools in all over West Africa. I think Morehouse is really the Ivy League of the HBCUs, and yes, Spelman. Spellman, we all know Spellman is like an elite black female school, but that's not the case with Morehouse. Morehouse it's really got a good integration. I think majority of their students are actually Nigerians. I've been to the campus before. I know a few people who go to that school, and I'll tell you that they take African studies and integration with Africa very serious. I can't talk much about Spellman because I really don't know a lot about Spellman, but Morehouse, yes.
yeah. Let's shift to Fest. Last year, you guys had your very first Ghana Fest. How did it go, Yvonne?
That was not our first.
Oh, it wasn't?
No. Well,
No,
Ghana Fest.
no.
No, we've been having
So
Ghana
let me
Fest for 6, 7 years.
really
Yes.
okay. Let me say where I got the first from. When DNT went to cover Ghana Fest in Chicago last year, a couple of guys approached me and they said, "Oh, we're from Atlanta. We came to audit the Ghana Fest in Chicago because we're doing one in that we're looking with." No, I think what they said we're doing in Atlanta. And that's where I got the idea that first. So I stand corrected. But how did it go last year?
It was
Let
fantastic.
Yvonne,
Every we
Yvonne,
grow.
before you say anything,
Yes.
let me say that us and the Yvonne's president, and it was the best we've had. So with that, Yvonne, I'll let you take over.
Oh,
Thanks, Ali. Appreciate it. But I mean, every year we improve. I
okay.
will say, Ghana Fest Chicago started the whole Ghana Fest thing, and I believe also New York. So most of us went over there to Chicago or New York during a Ghana Fest, and we thought, hey, we have Ghana Council here. Why don't we have our own Ghana Fest? So we started small and we grew as the years went along. Last year, I can tell you, we more than doubled the numbers from the year before, which was a good sized attendance as well. The kids attended in their numbers. We did do an outreach to the youth, the Ghanaian youth, and they attended like we've never seen before. We during Ghana Fest, we usually invite the Ghanaian chiefs who are here in Georgia to come and attend our Ghana Fest. They usually just come and do a parade of chiefs. Let's see, we parade them around. People are just in awe. They have all the regalia on. And then we have the kids too that are dressed up, and it's just an awesome scene just to look at them. So, I mean, Ghana Fest is one of our biggest events, including the Independence Day celebrations.
Are you trying to position Atlanta as the go-to place in the South? Because we in Houston, we have something to say about that.
Well, I mean, we are the southern, the southern place here in Georgia. We do have. I don't know what the numbers are. The Ghanaian population is in Houston, but we're growing. We're growing. But as you know, Atlanta has the best weather. We have. I would like to say the best southern hospitality here, and everything we do in Atlanta, we try to do it in in a grand way. So, Ali, if you have anything to add to that.
Already claimed Houston.
I think I'm
So
going
we are
to.
claiming.
I think I'm going to. No, wait. I think I'm going to have somebody else come and finish this interview before it becomes an argument. Because as a Houstonian, I don't know if I can sit here and listen to all this thing from
No,
Atlanta.
no,
But what do you have to add to that?
Jermaine, listen. The Nigerians have already claimed Houston, so we are claiming Atlanta. For the record.
Talking about, I mean, Yvonne was talking about all the different tribes. How are you organized structurally?
Well, Ghana Council consists of the various Ghanaian organizations here, and just so that I don't miss any names, we've got about 16 to 18 members within the Ghana Council umbrella, and I'll go down the list real quick. We've got Asanteman, Northern Ghanaians of Georgia, Brong Ahafo, Association, Ghana Dangbe, Ghana Association of Georgia, the Ghana Healthcare of Georgia, Ghana Ministers Association, Ghanaian Traditional Rulers. We've got the Ghanaian Women Association, Ghanaian Truck Drivers Association, UST. We've got Kwaoman, we've got Infanteman, we've got the Inzeman, we've got Akwapuman, Ochiman, and lately we just this past Independence Day, we added the Tema and Friends organization as well.
So you have the Ghana Council of Georgia, you have Ghana Council of Georgia, and then you have Ghana Association of Atlanta.
That's correct. Of Georgia.
All right.
So
okay.
So
So Dr. Ali, go ahead.
What
I
I
was
was
going to ask you. Go ahead with what you're saying, please.
Well, see, the Ghana Council is the umbrella association. Okay. And as Yvonne just mentioned, if you listen, it looks like each one of the associations is actually tied to either a tribe or a profession. I mean, not a tribe, but an ethnic group or a profession. And that's why you have the Ghana Association. That is the catch-all. You know, the Ghana Association is like the safety net. So if you don't want to belong to Infansima, or you don't want to belong to which, and you want to just be a member, you can join the Ghana Association. Myself, Yvonne, are members of the Ghana Association.
Okay. So I
is the
didn't
Ghana
hear.
Council then that? Mhm.
Okay. I didn't hear NPP Atlanta or NDC Atlanta. Did you guys specifically exclude the political parties?
Well, either political party has members in every, just about all the various associations. We don't Ghana Council is not a political type association. I mean, obviously, we talk about politics, can't help it. But it's generally not a politically affiliated party. We want everybody to feel comfortable, belonging to Ghana Council.
Oh, okay. Ali, you would agree with me that I can be a member of the Ghana Adangbe Association and also a member of the Nurses Association. There's no conflict there. So why can't I be a member of the, say, the Fantiman Association and a member of the NDC, and both are welcome? I mean, they're not one way. If you bring in one party and not the other, then you're being partisan. But if
True.
both are legitimate organizations, why can't the two main parties be a part of the umbrella?
Well, I think you just described me actually, because I'm a member of several, and I'm also a member of a party. I'm a card holding member of a party. But all that said, I think that in fact, I think the Ghana Independence, if you're looking at a brochure, both NDC and MPP advertised in it. We didn't specifically exclude a political party from joining. We just make sure, or we just always be careful that it's not dominated, or the discussion or the narrative of the council is not controlled by a particular political party. The reason we are very careful and deliberate in doing this, for instance, if the president of the association happens to be an NDC or happens to be an MPP, and we identify so much with the political party, then you begin to see how some people will be disenchanted with the council. That's why we try to stay neutral. But that doesn't mean that we don't have our various affiliations.
Okay. Well, let me stay with you, Dr. Ali. What is the dominant profession within the Ghanaian community in Atlanta?
Well, that really is varying. I mean, I think it's just almost impossible to answer that, because we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have nurses, we have everybody. I mean, you mention it, we got it here. So it's just hard to say this is the dominant. If anything, I'll say is the healthcare, because as you know, a lot of us like to get into the healthcare, and I think because I actually did some study into that, and it's because it's the easiest place to get a job. I mean, you have a nursing degree, you get a job by tomorrow. So when we come here and we want a profession that will give us a quick job, we tend to gravitate towards the healthcare area. But that's not to say that there's no profession that you couldn't find a Ghanaian in here in Atlanta.
Okay, so New York, New York City is known for finance and business, right? Los
Mm-hmm.
Angeles or Hollywood is known for, I guess, showbiz. Houston, space and healthcare. Um, Miami, tourism and whatever. What is Atlanta known for?
Coca-Cola.
That's it?
No,
I mean,
Atlanta
need
is
I say
known
more?
for the music
Huh?
industry.
The
Atlanta is
music
also
industry.
known for the music industry. We have a lot of music studios around downtown and elsewhere. So we do have a lot of, artists. Just if you go downtown, you'll walk and you'll see somebody who's popular on TV. I don't want to mention any names.
Okay, I'm curious, Dr. Ali, why would you say Coca-Cola when you have CNN?
No, Coca-Cola is bigger than CNN.
All right, so Coca-Cola employs more than CNN
Oh,
for obvious
absolutely.
reasons.
Oh, by far.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay.
By far.
All right.
Yvonne,
So,
wouldn't you agree? I mean, all the world.
oh, I think, well, I mean, at the corporate level, I don't know. But in terms of name, well, Coca-Cola has been around way longer before CNN came. So, yeah, we'll give the nod to Coca-Cola. But back to Ghana Fest. You guys had it in August last year, right?
Yes.
Today we're in May and we have COVID-19. It's shut down everything. Have you guys canceled Ghana Fest Atlanta for 2020 yet?
Yes, we have. Immediately
Okay.
after our Independence Day parade, the executives met because right after our Independence Day event, the COVID-19 became more, I guess, popular. It was all over the news. So um, canceling events all over the place. So we took some time just to look at where this COVID-19 was going to go. So as you can see, it was just spreading, spreading, and spreading. So the executives met. We thought about, how we're going to get this done. And the general consensus was just to cancel. We're not postponing. After our August events, a lot of our other associations start doing their events. So the dates are pretty
Okay.
much locked all the way through to December. So with this COVID
Ah,
19, there's nothing that we can do. We had to cancel.
okay, before we COVID-19, how did it start? Where did the original idea for the Ghana Fest come?
Well, Ghana Fest, as we discussed, a little bit ago, it's just putting Ghanaians together and having a taste of Ghanaian food. It's just a festival, or our day, so to speak, where all our different cultures or tribes come through with their own music, their own food that they can display. They can have a exhibit of what that culture is, whether they're bringing their outfits, jewelry, stuff like that. But the main thing is to get Ghanaians together, just to show off, and show not only Ghanaians but other non-Ghanaians who would like to see what the Ghanaian culture is all about.
All right. Dr. E, how is COVID-19 in Georgia and then in Atlanta? What do the numbers look like?
Is he asking about the COVID-19 numbers? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, what do the numbers look like? I know when I look at the states, Georgia is about 8th or 8th in the rank states to the most. Um, what 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 is doing about it? What are the state of
Well,
Georgia facing?
well, I think Georgia is one of the first states to really start opening the state up. Um,
Okay.
we still the numbers are still a little high, but the good thing is that they are centered. It's mostly Fulton County, which is the Atlanta area, and south in
Mhm.
Albany. Albany, there was a funeral in Albany attended by like
Uh-huh.
200 people, and one of the brother of the deceased actually came from New York to the funeral. In
Ouch.
fact, I work with a lady whose mother went to the funeral and she got it, but she survived. So
Wow.
as far as the numbers, I think it's about 2,500 right now, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. I don't know how many have died, but I know we are around 2,500. I haven't seen the numbers
Georgia
recently.
Georgia is
Yeah, I was
32,976.
gonna say we're in
Oh,
the
oh,
Yeah,
thousands.
no,
with
but the number of deaths
thousand
then is what, in the 2,000?
thousand no 1,404 with 3 today.
Okay,
But do
okay.
we do we know of any um, casualties within the Ghanaian or African communities with to COVID-19?
I haven't
If
I
heard such.
haven't.
I haven't heard any.
I haven't heard. Go
you
ahead,
haven't heard
Ali.
it,
I'm sorry.
but certainly no deaths
No,
that
I
we
have not
know of,
heard
right?
any. No,
Correct.
but I've heard a
No
lot
deaths.
of New York though. I heard a lot in New York.
Right. But Atlanta,
Yeah.
see, it's beginning. When I look at the states, the top the top 4 states are cold weathered states. So At the southern numbers, I'm looking at the southern numbers, they're not high. Texas is the most popular after California, but we're still way down there. So general weather has something to do with it, would you say? I mean, this is a
I
medical
don't
question.
think so. I know it's a medical question, but I don't think
Yeah.
weather has anything to do with it. Otherwise, look at the numbers in Ghana. You know, if we shouldn't have any deaths in Ghana at all,
Yeah.
but we do.
Okay.
So it's just a
All right.
matter of keeping people uh, social
Wait for me.
distancing, keeping people away from each other until we bring these numbers down.
Okay. What does the Ghana Georgia in place indicate, uh, I mean, to address it, whether it be raising or whether support groups or anything, do you have any of that in place? The Ghanaians in Germany are doing outstanding. I don't know what's happening in Ghanaian communities in Atlanta. Are you addressing that in a community?
Yeah. We at Ghana Council kicked off a Ghana Welfare Fund, and it's our support fundraising program to help those that are affected by COVID-19. Now we've partnered with our Ghanaian Ministers Association of Georgia to, raise funds and to get to those that really need it. As Ghanaians, most of us are very proud. We don't want to come out and say, "Hey, I've lost my job. I need some help." But we're finding that the churches, we have people that go to the churches to ask for help. So we partnered with the churches to raise fund, not only raise fund, but to use the churches to, distribute, whether it's food or any other items that people might need.
Okay. Dr. Ali, let me throw this one to you. You know,
Yes.
I spoke with, in the initial stages, I had an interview with some folks in New York, and I asked the same question. Do we have anyone within the Ghanaian community with COVID-19 confirmed? They say no. And then a week later, we saw 10 deaths. That tells me that we as Ghanaians, when we are unfortunate enough to contract this virus, we'd like to keep it to ourselves rather than communicate. Are you seeing that within the Ghanaian community? Because you guys are saying there's no cases that you're aware of. You're the Ghanaian, right? What would you say if someone just turned up that, oh, what do you have to say about uh, 19 in the event that they have it?
Well, we have platforms, extended support, and well wishes to Ghanaians. I think Yvonne and the rest of us on a daily basis, we get on the platform, the WhatsApp platform, and wish everybody well and, advise everybody to stay safe. But again, like you said, and you are so right, nobody has come forward and told any of us on the platform. We do, but I can guarantee you there's probably a Ghanaian in Atlanta who has had it. And the reason is that of Ghanaians, especially the females, work in these senior living facilities. I know that COVID-19
Right.
was very prevalent in the senior living facilities. So I'm sure that with the number of Ghanaians who work there, somebody probably has had it. We just don't know.
Okay. There's been a lot of focus. Let me shift to Ghana. You guys see what's going on in Ghana. What take on how Ghana is COVID-19?
I would say that from the governmental level, I'm just going by hearsay and see on the platforms. I don't think Ghana government is doing anything any different from the other governments in Africa. The lockdown was put in place, although I don't think it worked as well in Ghana or in, for that matter, any other African countries like it has in America, because the economic levels are different. You know, in America, it's very easy to send $1,200 to people because you have a database of everybody who has filed taxes. It's easy to do. I say that's not easy to do in Ghana. And you know, in Ghana, there are just so many people who are on the streets who live day by day, and so to lock them down difficult. So I understand the government's, you know, directives in opening the country up because people are hungry. Like people said, COVID hunger is probably more serious than COVID virus.
What? I'm sorry.
COVID
What did
hunger.
you say? COVID
I'm saying
hunger.
that
Okay.
it's serious than COVID virus.
Okay. All right. That the embassy has launched a fund. In fact, one of them, I've forgotten the name. They had a concert, a virtual concert last week. Are you aware of the fund that the embassy has launched to support COVID-19 in Ghana?
Yes.
Yvonne?
The embassy contacted us, Ghana Council. So we're partnering with them to raise funds as well. This is going directly to Ghana. So we, you know, Ghana Council would like to be a part of that. And so we are. I did enjoy the concert that was online on Facebook. So we're also, on behalf of the Embassy of Ghana, we're raising to add to what they're doing as well.
So are you encouraging your member organizations to contribute directly to the fund, or are you kind of a part in Atlanta to send about the fund? Which approach are you using?
I mean, we encourage them to go ahead and do, you know, their directly to Ghana Embassy of Ghana fundraising campaign. We also, as a Ghana Council group, we will send some on Ghana Council itself. But we do encourage our folks, our members, the different organizations under Ghana Council to directly their donation to the Embassy of Ghana.
Okay. Now let me shift to the year of return. Are you guys? What did you guys think? Did you have a lot of? Wait. By the way, before I go on with that question, when someone lives in, you call them Houstonian. What do you call a person who lives in Atlanta?
That's a good question. Atlantan, I guess.
Well, Atlanta.
You know, I mean, like you started with, I mean, we are ATL. So you come from Atlanta, you call
Okay.
Atlanta, or you're from ATL.
Okay. So we have New Yorkers, Chicagoans, Houstonians, but Atlanta, we just call you guys ATL. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many from ATL? How many from ATL came to the black and proudest city in America? How did it?
You got
Dr. Ali, you can take that one.
So the question is, how many Atlantans came to Ghana as part of the year of return?
No, how did the year of return play out in Atlanta, given the Afrocentric nature of the city?
Oh, it played a major role. Like I told you, the Atlanta congressman who came to the Ghana independence, you know, it mentioned how great it was for Ghana to actually organize the year of return.
Okay, all right. The reason why I ask is that right now there is a lot of focus diaspora looking back home. Okay, in fact, GNT, that's our mantra. As a Ghanaian who lives in Atlanta, what do you like to see in Ghana to encourage you to come home? And any of you can take this.
For me, I think for me, the basic utilities, I like to see that improve. And what I
What
mean by
that?
basic, very basic things, utilities, like city,
Okay.
water, importantly, sanitation.
Okay. So utilities. All right. What about you, Yvonne?
Of Ghana, given the opportunity, I will definitely move back. I wasn't too long ago, back in 2017, and I love everything about Ghana. Ali said, it is quite if because we're used to constant electricity, water running, etc. If that were fixed, it'll be a little bit more comfortable for those who are used to, getting it on a regular basis. But Ghana is a country that, where I come from love. Differences in the culture make it even more interesting. Food wise, I mean, the minute I stepped down, I wanted some Ghanaian food. So, given the opportunity, if Ghana would embrace those of us that have been out so long, I think it'll just be a plus. I think there's a animosity. This is just my opinion. There's a little animosity with Ghanaians when we in the diaspora come home. We tend to be looked at a little different.
Okay. And those in Ghana would say, when you come home, you're too known. Are they wrong?
Well, that's the word I wanted to say, but I wanted to be a little kind. But yeah, that's what it is. We're too known. We want to come take the job, or we waited till everything is nice. Now we're back to enjoy.
No, but
Yeah.
you see, if I could add to that,
Go ahead.
the true known part is because of our of the year. For instance, if I go to Ghana and I tell somebody meet me at a place at 2 o'clock, and I'm there at 2 o'clock, and they show up at 3 o'clock, and I'm mad, they said I'm too known. You see, that is there are problems with, because when I say it's 2 o'clock.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and what we try to do, DNT, I think is two-way communication. I mean, it's in fact, if you show up at 2 and the person shows up at 3, you have a legitimate gripe. But do you also see that some of us, when we go on, then every little bitty thing we just pick on and say, "Oh, how can you guys do this?" Blah blah blah, and sometimes we blow it out of proportion. So do you see how they come from with this idea that, oh, Mukram? I mean, if you're at home, do they have a point? For those at home,
I think they do have a point, but we also have a point. Because we go home and of this mantra, time is money, because we're used to time being money. And we value time. I think that how we see time is different from how they see time.
okay.
So I think until we are able to marry these two, there will always be a conflict.
Okay. That brings me to this question. I interviewed a young man in South Africa. He's from Zimbabwe. Very, very Pan-African guy. And he said, look, we travel to, say, America, UK, and then we see this different light and we think we've changed. When we come back home, we're looking for things to be perfect, things to be in the right place. And that is surprising, considering that the white guy or the Chinese guy who was born somewhere else, they are coming, they are not waiting for everything to be in place before they come. How do you explain?
That's that extra time of behavior is why the Ghanaians call the diasporans too known, because of the fact that they want things to be like what they have wherever they're staying abroad. For me, being in a different country, just as traveling anywhere else, I have to acclimate myself to where I am. I don't come in thinking the road should be as if I'm traveling on the highways in Atlanta. So for me, I go in as if you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. So I come in, I'm enjoying everything. I particularly don't. I mean, I don't even care the same things that I have here, because I'm looking to see a different culture. You see. Ali, did you want to add something to that?
Well, no, I agree with what you're saying. The problem is that for some of us, when we go and you want us to lower our standard just so we will fit in, some people have difficulties dealing with that.
Okay, I'm saying that when we come back, we want to correct what we with our system in Ghana. The foreigner, when they come back, they've already lowered their expectation before they got on the plane. Is that what is different, or are we just too picky?
Well,
That is what is different.
I mean, what is different for me is that me being a Black person, a Ghanaian coming to Ghana, I've lived outside of Ghana for many, many years. I don't think Ghanaians give me the same respect as they would a Caucasian who's coming to Ghana. And the minute there's more respect, as in, oh, you want to come and do this here? Sure, why not? Come in. Again, as me, living outside, and don't look at me like, what do you think you can fix what we haven't fixed in so long? There's a little difference in the mentality.
Okay. All right. Diaspora bond. I know you guys didn't want it, but I'll make this simple. If diaspora bond was floated right now, would you buy it? Ali?
I probably would. Ali?
You would?
Well, I will, depending on what the guarantees are. I mean, because there was, just to give you an example, I bought some EcoBank bonds, and now I don't even know where they are because they have become junk bonds. So if the diaspora bond was right now, I have to see what is. But if I'm happy with what is behind it, of course I will invest in it.
You bought EcoBank, right?
What's that?
It's a bond you buy that. What happened?
Well, about 10 years ago, I'm an EcoBank bonds. About 10 years ago.
Okay.
And when I went back to check on the value of the bonds, they told me that they purchased by the former president, or it was done by the former president, and there was a type of fraud involved, and I have to file a complaint to get them out.
Wait,
that was it.
Wait. So you came back and they said the former president, the president of the country or the
no, of the bank.
Of the bank.
Of the bank.
So you're saying that you bought it at the time when one person was president, but when the leadership changed, what did they tell you?
They told me that there were some grievances with the bond, the way the bond was presented, and I mean, it was a long story. It was a very long story, and they told me that I had complained. I had for 2 weeks. I don't have time to file a complaint.
Did you file the complaint?
No, I was in Ghana for 2 weeks. I didn't have time to file any complaint. And I think they knew it. I think they knew that I don't have time to do, they were putting me through. I think they knew it.
Wait, so that calls into question. That puts on the table your perception of law in Ghana. Do you have faith in it?
I hate to say this, but no, I don't.
Faith in the rule of law.
No.
Okay. Here is someone who bought EcoBank bonds. And by the way, Dr. Ali, you care to reveal how much is involved here?
It wasn't a lot of money. That's why it was like $5.
But if it was a lot of money, then you would have pursued it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if it was like $100,000, you better believe it.
Wait, $100,000 and it's not a lot of money.
No. I'm saying it was $500.
Oh, okay. So what I'm saying is that what do you characterize of law in Ghana today? How do you characterize it?
Is that for Ali or me?
For you, Yvonne.
Well, as far as I experienced in Ghana, the top echelon, the elites can drive around and they get away with things than anybody else. While driving to a particular place, there were many times that we all had to like move over because a dignitary with their caravan were just speeding through. Everybody had to push off to the side. And I also realized that bribery system works well in Ghana. Anywhere you go, you can get your way. You can buy your way to the front line if you have enough money. So basically, people standing in line doesn't matter. Say that again.
What should be done to improve law and order in Ghana? The reason why I'm spending time on this, we live in a place where the national security advisor to the president was actually Larry Flynn, and I mean I don't know if it's Michael Flynn, and he got released. Do you ever see anyone of that high ranking going to jail in Ghana under any administration?
No, because they generally don't prosecute the politicians or people in high positions. They don't. Ghanaians generally don't prosecute.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think this administration here, can go to other American governmental administration. I mean, they're as third world countries do. If you're a friend of mine, you don't get in trouble.
Okay, very good. You guys have given us a very good window into the minds of a Ghanaian who live outside, and also put us in a picture of where the Ghanaian community in Atlanta is. I want to thank you. But before we go, when I ask you guys what would make you move to Ghana, I think you mentioned utilities. Okay, so I'm going to do this. We'll start with you, Dr. I'm going to mention 5 things, and you rank them based on their importance as the factors that will help you come back home. 1, corruption. 2, okay, no, I'm not them. I'm just going to say them. Corruption, rule of law, partisanship and division, peace, and your own personal readiness. Okay, let me go back. Corruption, rule of law, partisanship and division, utilities, and your own personal readiness. Which one should be in place for you rank them?
I will add one to that list,
Which,
which is tribalism.
tribalism. Okay, yeah, I added
Yeah.
that to partisan division.
Okay.
That's under, okay. But yeah, feel free
Okay.
to add it on. Now rank them for me.
Okay. So if I have to rank, number one is number one in book, the tribalism and rule of law. So tribalism,
Tribalism,
which
okay. Number
you put that under what group? You say you
tribalism
group.
is with partisanship and division in all.
Okay. So tribalism and
Tribalism is
partisanship and division is number one.
okay.
Okay.
And number
Number
two,
two is rule of law. It's rule of law.
okay.
Then number
Okay.
three is the basic living, which is the utilities that I mentioned.
Okay. And number
Okay.
four.
And then number four is what did I leave out?
We're left with corruption and your own readiness.
Well, I think my own readiness, then corruption
Okay, so you put corruption at number five.
at number five. And the reason
Okay,
is
so
because there are some I can live with, and there are others I cannot live with.
okay.
You know, I'm going by what I can live with and what I cannot live with. You know,
and for you,
it's like to me, tribalism and this party thing, it's like in America.
it's what?
It's like America, black or white. It's like race in America. You know, when I come with all this knowledge and that I have in America, and then I come to you, Jermaine, I said, "Can you give me a job?" And you said, "What's your name?" And I said, "My name is Ali." So, OJ Soninho or Unse Nteni.
Okay.
If somebody tells me that I'm on the plane the next day coming back to America, at least I can deal with black and white, but I cannot deal with that.
So you think tribalism is worse than racism in America, in the South?
Yes, because the thing is that when you walk in, you are either black or white. You don't have to, you know, in other words, it doesn't towards the end and they find your name and then they eliminate you. You know, you walk through the door, you are either in or you are out.
Okay. But there are some who say that there are some that, in fact, I read a report, I think 3 years ago, where somebody looked at the when they see him like Aquita, automatically put him aside.
But you see, they weed you out before you get there, which is okay, because what you don't know won't hurt you. But this is a case where I'm with you, I've done everything to the point. You just ask my name, and then all of a sudden, I'm not good anymore. It's like, what the heck?
All right. Tribalism, let me tell you, well, I agree with you in the sense that, let me just say this. We, the three of us, we're black in America, and we have an issue with the white man discriminating against us because we're black, right? We have an issue with that. But then we come home, and now, when in the case of black and white, like you said, it's very clear. There's a clear difference. But we have a problem with that. But when we go back home, I'm an Ashanti, you're a Ghana, you're from the north, but we're the same color. But yet we discriminate against each other and we think it's okay. How hypocritical is that?
That's my problem.
Okay.
Very much so.
Okay. So, Yvonne, what is your list? Let me go. Well, what is your ranking? Is corruption, rule of law, utilities, and then partisanship and division. How would you rank them?
I think my number one I have two that is number one for me, which is corruption and rule of law. Those two,
Okay.
one, you can't do anything, with those practices in place, and
Okay.
my own readiness will probably be number two for me, or on number three, after
Okay.
corruption and rule of law. Just to be ready enough with enough funding to support myself, so that I can be comfortable. And let's see, partisanship and divisionship. I think those are things that it's all over the world. You can't really, I mean, we can't do away with it. I don't see that, dying anytime soon. If you're a certain color, if you're from a certain tribe, whether you're in Africa, India, Chinese, anywhere else, going to be partisanship and division. Even in small pockets in schools, you have that. So to me, that would rank,
Very good.
that.
And then the utilities will be the final.
Yeah, utilities. I think, for Ghana, we're improving. It didn't affect me so much, and pardon me if I say that. I was in places where it wasn't a problem. My bad.
All right.
That's not a
So
problem.
in ending, your final thoughts about you and your community that they don't know. Let me start with Dr. Ali. What is your
Well,
closing argument?
I would say that, first of all, thank you for this opportunity to do this. I wish we did this more often. And I think it's a great, great outreach for you to take your time and do this with us, and the opportunity to talk about who we are and what we do and how we see us moving forward, in the years to come. And I just think that it's a good thing you guys are doing, because those at home get to hear our point of views, and and hopefully good things will come out of it. Who knows? Next thing you know, you see my face on TV running some IT project in Ghana. Who knows?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yvonne?
Again, thank you for the opportunity. I know we've tried to connect a couple of times, but better late than never. And I do expect that we'll do this a couple of times soon. For me, like, the Ghanaian community in Ghana or here in Georgia, to all get together and support each other in any way we can. If you are, donate to the Ghana Council Welfare Fund, or, go to the Ghana Embassy of Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C. Website and donate there as well. We need to come together and help each other, because, if we don't, who will? So thanks again for the opportunity, and I look forward
I want to
to
thank you
this.
guys. If I arrive in Atlanta and I don't know anybody, the first I should call.
You know plenty in Atlanta. We're your friends, so you call us.
All right, guys, so much.
God.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are the leadership in a very important city in America. Atlanta is growing. Atlanta is the Black Hollywood. And when I say black, a lot of people think when you say black, you're trying to be funny. No. Black is beautiful.
You're right.
Go to Atlanta. And you guys, you know what? I'm going to be visiting very soon. Thanks for joining us here at Diaspora Weekly. You have the good rest of the
You're
day.
welcome.